Hello and welcome to the Unhinged Binge, where today we will be exploring horror, specifically the horror of the MPPA's rampage on the Friday the 13th franchise, the seventh installment, The New Blood, as opposed to that old blood, because who likes old blood? No one wants old blood. Actually, I would have preferred old blood. R.I.P. Tommy, I guess.
True.
Nobody cares about Jarvis anymore. I'm your host, LeGault. I like to talk about horror movies and stuff. I'm here with my buddy, Kurt. How you doing, Kurt?
I'm not too bad. Happy to be back. This is going to be an interesting one for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's I wasn't sure where this was going to go after 6, because you said, and a lot of people say that, it's only downhill from here. So
I think this one is kind of mixed in terms of reception. It's one of those movies that I don't think was loved when it first came out, but has since gained a following. But I don't think it's I wouldn't call it like a beloved film in the franchise, even in retrospect.
Okay,
I think
so
some
I
people
guess
like it, some people not so much.
I guess my opinion is I'm somewhere in the middle then, mixed on it, and we'll get into the details of why, but it was definitely a step down from 6, but it's not my least favorite in the franchise. So,
It's no one's least favorite.
So far, I know it gets worse. I'm talking about from the ones that we've talked about so far.
Right, because this was your first time watching this one.
Correct. All these are first time, basically, until whenever we do Freddy versus Jason.
Oh dear. Okay, so this is your first time experiencing who is pretty much everyone's favorite Jason, Kane Hodder.
Yep. I thought he was really good. Physically, I did not love the breathing and the noises and stuff. That doesn't really seem
Thank you. Thank you.
That does not seem like Jason. That's like Michael Myers to me.
To me, it's like, oh, Jason has asthma now.
Right. Where did that come from? He never had that before. But
he does all this cardio too.
Yeah. But aside from that, I did think the physical performance was really good. Yeah. So I see why people like Kane Hodder so much. And he does all the rest of them through 10, right?
Yeah, he does 8, Final Friday, and X.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So he's played Jason the most times.
I know a lot of people were mad that he didn't come back for Freddy versus Jason. But I think the guy in that did a pretty good job.
He was also very angry.
Yeah.
If you watch interviews, it's so funny. Like, he's so unreserved in his content.
Huh. So do you want to wait? Do you want to wait till we get to Freddy versus Jason to talk about the backstory of that? About why he wasn't in it? Or can you say something?
I'll just tell you right now. They wanted someone a little different and I think a little bigger.
Okay.
And I'm confusing that. No, I'm right. And Jason for Freddy versus Jason Mears is a bit taller, but I don't think he's as
built.
Wide?
Yeah, okay, sure.
I guess.
Thick. Yeah.
Yes, thick. Like it's 3 C's for Kane Hodder.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, gotcha. He's very, very Jason Mears is very large. I'm saying Jason Mears. That's the remake of Friday the 13th. Completely wrong human being.
Derek Mears is the remake.
Mears. But that's not who plays him in Freddy vs. Jason. I'm completely blanking on this man's name. Can't remember it. I'm not there yet. We'll talk about it more when we talk about that movie.
Exactly.
But yeah, they just wanted someone a little different, maybe a little larger. And that man, is a little larger. Kane Hodder was not happy about that.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Think it's unfortunate. I think he put in his time. He deserves to get it.
Yeah, I agree. And he seems big enough to me, so I don't quite understand why they thought they needed someone bigger, but oh well.
Yes. Anywho's, back to The New Blood. This came out May 13th, 1988. So we went over a year and no Friday the 13th movie. There was none in 1987.
Wow, that's rare.
It is very rare.
Is this the first time that happened? Or no, there was one other time, right?
It was the second time that happened. But this year, 1988, also saw Halloween 4 and A Nightmare on Elm Street, I think also 4.
4, I think, yeah.
So this was, I believe, the only year that had an installment for every one of those.
Oh, wow.
And there are a lot of other, 1988 and 89 for horror was huge. Like 80, I mean, for me, when you're talking like 80s horror, 88 and 89 of the years.
You know, it's
Were
surprising.
stacked.
It's surprising that this is the first or the only year that all three of them had a movie release, because as quickly as they were pumping out movies, you think it would have happened more often.
Well, they made altogether more Halloween movies,
Right.
but they were spaced out a bit more.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And
And they
Nightmare
started
on Elm
earlier.
Street
Yeah.
was
Okay.
also spaced out a bit more.
Right. Yeah. I guess Friday the 13th was the only one that was doing it like every year for the
Yeah,
most
they
part.
did it every year. Oh, I mean, they were continuous up until the 90s, and they really slowed down once they were purchased by New Line.
Right. So, what was the first time that they didn't go every year? What was the first time they skipped a year?
Oh, now I don't remember. I think it was
Okay.
83
Okay. So
or
that would
82. 82 or 83.
okay. You don't remember which movies it was in between?
Um,
2 and 3 was it?
2 and 3.
I think it was 2 and 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you're asking me about past things. I've moved on.
True.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
What's going on?
That was weird. Nothing.
What happened?
Okay. So,
Oh.
it was directed by John Carl Buechler, who was a special effects guy. And I love when special effects guys directs movies, because
Mhm.
normally they're pretty great in the special effects.
Right.
And if you have the opportunity, I think all that's left is an assembly cut of the movie. So to say the quality is degraded is an understatement. But you can find, and I'll have the link to it, the uncut versions of the kill scenes. They did a really good job, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. It is said on the IMDb that they had to submit this movie 9 times to the MPAA to
9
get an R
times.
rating. It's ridiculous, but the kills are pretty great. It's
They
unfortunate.
are. So you sent me over, just for the audience, right before we started this, the video of those uncut kills, and I didn't even know that this existed. And yeah, they're really good. They cut out a ton from the movie, and some of these kills were way more brutal. So I'm curious, is there like an actual cut of the full movie with those? There's
So
isn't?
from my
Okay.
understanding, that's all that's left, is that
Okay.
that footage
Gotcha.
from an assembly cut.
Right. Okay.
And oftentimes, and I'm assuming the assembly cut only existed on a VHS, and that the original footage on film, I believe I read that Paramount had it destroyed.
Oh wow, that sucks.
That's not uncommon, particularly
Yeah.
for a low budget movie, because
Sure.
I mean the cost of maintaining like a film, like film stock, can be kind of expensive, and
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
takes a lot of space.
Hmm.
And also, I guess it depends on like what film it was filmed on.
Right.
I think
Sure.
this was
Sure.
not like 70 millimeter. That's gonna be preserved to look a bit better,
Well,
unfortunately.
I mean, at least we still have that video. At least the kills aren't completely gone, so that's pretty cool.
Yes. So Carl Buechler, or Carl Buechler. I hope I'm saying his name right.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
probably.
know for sure, but I know he did effects on the Ghoulies. I think he's the guy who created the Ghoulies. Not positive on that,
I'm
but
sorry,
I
created the
know
what?
he also directed the best Ghoulies, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College.
I got to be honest, I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
So,
you're not missing anything.
okay,
Have
good.
you seen Gremlins?
I have.
Then you don't need to watch Ghoulies. You're good.
Okay.
He also directed Cellar Dweller, which I think I am the only living human being who is not in the movie who has seen them.
Yep, I've never heard of it. I can say
Yeah,
that
no
for
one
sure.
watched this movie. The only reason I watched it is because Jeffrey Combs is in it. And I'm
Oh,
just gonna spoil it. Jeffrey Combs dies in the opening of the movie. So then I'm just left watching a Jeffrey Combs-less movie.
ah,
I
that's
don't think it's a bad movie.
unfortunate.
It's a like, I think in terms of like 80s horror movies, it's totally fine. And I would say worth a watch, especially yeah. There's some
Okay.
movies I would compare it to, but it's not bad. And the monster in the movie is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Is it on
Anyway,
Tubi or?
honestly, I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Nobody cares about this movie,
Right.
man. It had a $2.8 million budget, and it made about 19.2 back, which was less than our previous installment. Harry Manfredini, they're using some of the music that he had already created, but he did not do the music overall for this movie. The score is
Okay.
very different, and it was created by Fred Mullen.
So I don't know how you felt about the score, but I was not a massive fan of the score
It
in this
was
one.
very repetitive.
Yeah,
But it was I think it worked with the movie.
I thought it was a little forgettable compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah,
Some of like
it doesn't have the character that
right.
Harry
That's a
Manfredini
great way
did.
of putting it. Yeah.
So this movie, the tagline is on Friday the 13th, Jason is back, but someone's watching, which I don't think really accurate describes the movie, but
Not really, but can I just
maybe.
say though that I love your tagline reading voice. It just makes me laugh every time.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
My voice really only does the one thing.
Yeah,
So
I enjoy it.
there we go. We have Tina, or I'm sorry, let me give a little background. So there were a few ideas they had going into this movie. It didn't look like any of the ideas were to bring back Tommy Jarvis. I don't know why.
Why not?
I
Yeah,
have
that makes
no
no
idea.
sense.
That makes no sense to me. I don't know why they said Tommy Jarvis is done. Let's do our next thing. I don't know why. But that he was never for any of the unmade stuff that they had, like ideas that I read about that were pitched. None of them had to do with Tommy Jarvis.
What? I can't
At this
understand that.
point, they were already trying to get New Line to work with them to make a Freddy versus Jason. This is where that started. They
Oh wow,
obviously,
this early.
I think maybe why why it took so long for this movie to get made,
Sure.
because they were
Okay.
going through so much development and like trying to do other things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then from what I read on Wikipedia and the IMDb, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but
Mhm.
it looked like there was a script beforehand that someone put forward, that they wanted to have it be more about the town and have a like development come in to like kind of plow through Crystal Lake. I guess we're pretending like we didn't already do that in the last one, and like pretend like Jason wasn't around. I guess we're
Right.
still pretending like they didn't do that in the last one.
They definitely did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, hang on. So I'll tell you when they were. Well, hang on. I'll get there in a second. Like clearly,
Okay.
the people who made this didn't watch any of the previous movies.
Yeah.
So this one, the guy who did write the script, Daryl Hanney, said, "Well, we always have a final girl. So
Mhm.
what if we had made this movie? The final girl had supernatural powers." And they're like, "Great, cool, go ahead and do that." So he wrote the script, and they got started. They when they were casting Tina, they actually cast someone before they cast Laura Park Lincoln. The
Okay.
person they cast, I believe, played Sandra in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Oh wow.
So then they realized, "Oh, you were already in a Friday movie."
They didn't know that? That's so
No,
funny.
like, "Girl, sorry, you can't be in this one." Well,
Oh
I've mentioned
jeez.
this previously. A lot of times when they're doing Friday the 13th movies, they don't advertise them. Like, they don't put the scripts out as Friday the 13th.
Right, yeah.
This movie's, like, undercover name was Birthday Bash.
Okay.
So she was reading this, like, in the part of the script she got, she didn't know it was so
Uh,
she didn't know she was,
right, got it.
trying to
Okay.
be in a movie, but they knew, and they didn't know she'd been in one.
To be
And we're
completely honest, they probably could have just casted her again, and I don't think I would have even noticed. So,
but we're starting to look at someone else
right.
to be Tina, who
Mhm.
was in the last movie. She
Come
was
on,
Paula
guys.
in Jason Lives. I'm like, "Guys, okay, I can understand not remembering too, but the last one, do better." So
Yeah,
finally,
you
they
gotta do your
hired
research.
Lara Park Lincoln for Tina. Um, and they got Terry Kisser as Dr. Cruz. Do you know
Mhm.
who he is?
The actor? No, I don't.
Okay. Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
I have, but it's been a long time. I don't
He's
remember a ton
Bernie.
about it. Oh, really?
Yes.
I would not have
He's
noticed that at all.
also in the cinematic fucking masterpiece, Tammy and the T-Rex. And I stand by that.
Yep, that's one I have not seen, but I think I've heard you mention it before.
I love Tammy and the T-Rex. It's got a very young Paul Walker and
Oh,
oh my god, what's her name? Nicole.
Kidman?
No.
Nicole.
Everyone makes fun of her because she's just like really sexy and seems dumb, and I can't think of her name.
Don't know who you're referring to.
I feel like she's in the Sharknado movies, maybe.
Well, I haven't seen those either, so
Okay.
sorry. I know that's
Anyway,
an
we
issue.
have Susan Blue as Mrs. Shepherd, Tina's mom. and I'll go through kind of the rest of the cast as we talk about them.
Sure. To be honest, I forgot pretty much all of them already.
Yeah, they're forgettable.
Very forgettable. That was definitely a knock against this movie, especially considering the last one had pretty good characters, especially the main two, Tommy Jarvis, and I forgot the chick's name, but I liked her a lot too.
Megan?
And the sheriff was really funny as well.
McGarris.
So, yes.
Wherever the red dot goes.
Yeah, so pretty big step down as far as characters go for this one.
Mm-hmm. So this movie is a little bit interesting. We have an open narration. You want to know a fun fact about the open narration?
Sure.
It is read by one Walt Gorney in his last movie he ever did. He is Crazy Ralph.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I
That's
wish he'd
awesome.
done it in the Crazy Ralph voice.
He should have. That would have been a lot cooler, but still cool though.
We do he reads the narration, which I'm about to read, while it's like raining, and we get flashbacks through our previous 7 installments, which I like because it continues on to remind us that there is a level of continuity to these movies.
Yeah.
Which compared to like Halloween, which has already had reboots at this time, and Nightmare on Elm Street, which it doesn't Nightmare on Elm Street has continuity, but I feel like Friday the 13th is better.
I agree. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised, and I don't know where it's going to go with the next few, but they've done a pretty good job with continuity so far.
Yes. So, all right, the narration. I can't do Crazy Ralph voice.
Ah, damn it.
There's a legend around here. A killer buried but not dead. A curse in Crystal Lake. A death curse. Jason Voorhees curse. I feel like he kind of does a fluctuation.
Yes, he definitely does.
They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back. Few have seen him and lived. Some have even tried to stop him, but no one can. People forgot he's down there waiting. It's terrible.
No, dude, I really enjoyed that. That was highly entertaining.
And then we get this that harsh music, which I've already forgotten, so I can't attempt to replicate.
Yeah, me too.
But we get the lightning, which kind of like breaks. It's a replay of number 6 with the lightning and Jason coming alive, which is smart because that was clearly the best effect they've done in this entire franchise.
Right.
And
if you're going to replicate one, might as well be that one.
Yes. And then it cuts to the mask with light coming through it, which I thought looked pretty cool.
That was
but
pretty
then
cool.
we get the same boring ass white sans serif font on a black background, which I feel like if you're gonna do something different, change that up.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing I hate more than boring ass opening credits. Just the plain white letters on the black screen. Do something else with it, you know? Have some colors in there, do something interesting. So yeah, I kind of
do a sitcom intro.
Sure,
something.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, so we have the opening, which is we see Jason at the bottom of the lake where Tommy and Megan chained him up in number 6.
Right.
The timeline gets a little muddled, but the agreed upon timeline is Tommy and Megan chained him up in the summer of 1990.
Of 90. Okay.
This happens when Tina is 10 years old and it's October 1990. So it's a few months later. And it's Friday the 13th. Her parents are arguing. Her dad's apparently kind of an abusive drunk. She goes out on a boat to get away from the tension. Her father runs out on the dock to try to get her to come back. And she ends up going full on Carrie with some awesome telekinetic powers and kills her father by drowning him in the lake with Jason. Then we're going to cut to about 7 years later. Tina should be about 17, and we're now in the year 1997.
97? Good
God.
So
this came out in 88.
They're almost 10 years ahead. Why did they feel like they had to do this with the timeline? This is so bizarre.
Wait till we get to Jason X.
Oh, no. That's the space one, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Do you want to make a prediction what year you think that takes place?
Oh, good Lord. Sure, why not? I feel like
you don't have to give a specific year. You can just say approximately how many years in the future.
Oh, God, I have no fucking clue. Let's say like 200 years in the future.
Good guess. Good guess.
Okay.
We'll check that out when we get to it.
Okay. I have no idea if
Okay.
I'm actually way off or not, but yeah, we'll find out.
All right. So Tina and her mom are returning to Crystal Lake with her psychiatrist. I'm just gonna call him Dr. Bernie because I don't care enough to call him by his actual name.
Totally
This
understandable.
movie has 100 characters.
Way too many.
I'm gonna do my best.
Mhm.
I think I did pretty good, actually. We'll see how it goes. And did I cheat and look on the Wikipedia and see how they described them? Yes,
Hey,
because there's like 100 characters.
you got to do what you got to do, you know.
All right, so they come to their cabin, and next door to their cabin, wouldn't you know it, there are a bunch of sexy teens in the woods, unsupervised.
Wow.
What could
a
go
surprise.
wrong? And they're throwing a party for Michael.
Mhm.
Michael. I don't know why I always find that funny. I'm like, you really could have been really silly and called him Freddie, but you're not
That would
that
have been
petty, I
hilarious.
guess.
Especially since they were thinking about making Freddy versus Jason. That would have been a nice little like foreshadowing
Yes.
Easter egg.
And I'm assuming the whole birthday thing is why they use the undercover code name Birthday Bash.
That would make sense. Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna do a download of the characters. Are you ready?
Oh God, go for
Deep
it.
breath. We have Michael's cousin Nick. He's our main bland brunette
Yep.
love interest. I actually really like him. He's played by Kevin Blair or Kevin Spiratus, depending on. I think he changed his name.
Oh, okay.
He's in Subspecies 2, 3, and 5. I love Subspecies movies. I would just like to take this opportunity to say, hey, watch the Subspecies. They're all on Tubi. He's also been in about 450 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Oh, wow.
Out of that, did you know Days of Our Lives has nearly 15,000 episodes?
Good Lord. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know it was that many. That's
So
just
many.
insane.
I also would like to take this moment to say, like, half this cast was gay.
Oh, really?
So the actress playing Tina's mom is queer.
Okay.
Nick, the actor playing Nick, is queer. The actor playing Ben, part of the token couple. They wanted to have black actors, I guess. So we have Ben and Kate. That's the only thing I know about them. They're in love a little bit more than the other characters, and they seem a little bit, more mature than the others.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Ben is also queer. We have science fiction writer Eddie, also played by a queer actor. Michael, played by William Butler, was a queer actor. He has a girlfriend. Her name is Jane. That's all I can tell you about her. She had curly hair.
I completely forgot about her, to be honest.
And then I think that there was one, or maybe not. Okay, I think that's all. There was like 5 queer people. So like you put all these young, good-looking gay boys in a house together. That was just fun. And then we have a preppy brunette who is obsessed with money, Russell. And his love interest is Sandra. She's blonde, but she's not the bitchy blonde. That's Melissa.
Yeah.
She wears pearls. Then we have the stoner, David. We have the perky redhead, Robin, who's played by Elizabeth Catan, who is in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Oh, cool.
I would like to go back and say that Russell's blonde love interest, Sandra, is Heidi Kotz, who's in Slumber Party Massacre 2 and Society.
God, so many references that I just know nothing about.
And then we have the shy girl who wears glasses, Maddie. I really liked Maddie, and
I like Maddie too.
I think that's everybody. So, okay. Michael, Jane, Melissa, Maddie, Robin, David, Eddie, Ben, Kate, Sandra, Russell, Nick, and Tina.
Way too many characters. And I got to be honest, even though I watched the movie a couple nights ago, as you're bringing these characters up, I'm still kind of like wrecking my brain to remember who they are. I'm like, wait, who's Russell again? Like, I still can't even really picture who that even is. So that's just how forgettable the characters were in this movie.
The sweater tied around his neck rather than on his body.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that kind of rings a bell.
Yeah, my descriptors are terrible. I'm like, this is the one with braids. This is the one who likes science fiction. I thought that was obvious.
Like, I mean, look, when there's so many characters and most of them don't have like any real depth to them, you kind of got to do what you got to do,
I got really confused with all the drama, but I think I got it. gonna take a deep breath here. Melissa likes Nick, but Nick
Yes.
likes Tina.
Yes.
Okay. Robin likes David. No. Yes, Robin. No, hang on. So Melissa uses Eddie to
Yeah.
try to make Nick jealous, but then I got confused because Maddie either likes Eddie or David. I think it's David, but her best friend Robin starts getting with David, even though Maddie likes him, and that upsets her. But then I was thinking maybe she liked Eddie, and I got confused and switched them.
You totally lost me.
Yeah.
So I have no
But
idea.
this is all very important to the plot.
Apparently. I do remember Melissa liking Nick and Nick liking Tina. That part I do remember, but the rest of it is like all a blur to me.
But yeah, we're just gonna move on.
Yes.
That's the plot of the Party Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've already confused myself. So Tina is having a therapy session with Dr. Bernie.
Sure.
And it's really giving Poltergeist 3. He wants to use her for her powers. And he purposely is trying to get her upset because her powers manifest, I should say.
Right. Yeah, that's a great word. Yeah.
She's upset. But it's really giving overpowered crazy woman trope, and I didn't really like it.
I thought that too. Yeah, while I was watching it. I agree. By the way, I didn't get that. I've only seen the first Poltergeist, so I did not get that reference either.
I would say 2 is definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
I watched it as a kid, and I maintained that the guy who plays Kane, Reverend Kane, is one of the most terrifying people I've ever seen on film.
Wow, that's in 2?
He's just so unsettling.
Okay.
Also, it has the guy who plays Chief from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I just think people should watch movies with him in it because he was a great actor.
Cool.
It brings back most of the remaining cast. I mean, obviously not some certain individuals who had been murdered by their boyfriends.
Right.
But,
yes.
Yeah, we'll move on. So anyway, Tina's like crying and runs away back to the dock to get on the lake because she's repeating her past mistakes. It's fine. Then it turns out, holy shit, she's a necromancer and she can raise people from the dead. Then she just freaking pulls a Tommy and fucks up and resurrects Jason. Way to go, Tina.
Man. Second straight movie where if someone would have just stayed away from Jason, well, in her defense, she didn't know, but would have just stayed away from Jason, he would have stayed dead. Unfortunate. All started with Tommy going back to the damn grave.
I like to think that Tommy resurrecting Jason somehow gave Tina powers. That's my headcanon. It doesn't make sense. But I'm going to stand by it.
I don't hate that theory, honestly.
I also have a theory, because Jason keeps coming back from the dead, that the lake actually has healing properties.
Okay.
And maybe that's why she got
That's
power.
Also a decent theory. Yeah, I like it.
I'm just trying here. I shouldn't. Then it cuts to sex.
Yeah.
It's a horror movie. And I guess Russell and Sandra are having sex in the van. A lot of people had sex in that van.
True.
Doesn't seem sanitary.
No, not at all.
Yeah, then it cuts back to Michael and Jane walking through the woods. But then Jason, who's been resurrected, wastes no time in starting his killing spree. And he kills both of them? Okay, so I had to make some guesses when I was taking my notes. So Michael goes to pee, which I gotta say, I never hear people talking about this as a trope in horror movies, but guys, if you're out in the woods and you gotta pee, you best be holding it, because if you leave, when you come back, you're gonna find your girlfriend dead.
That is definitely a trope. I feel like that's happened in damn near all of these movies.
Like every one of them. It's, yeah, definitely a thing. So I do think Michael seemed like he would... Okay, he at no point snuck up on anyone doing like a Scooby-Doo, like stalked you over, but he just kept like walking up to people and they didn't notice him until he was like right in front of their face.
Right.
It's just kind of goofy to me.
How did they not hear this huge guy walking
like
behind them?
18 feet tall.
Yep.
Come on.
That did feel a bit Scooby-Doo-ish for sure.
Yeah, it was a little janky. I feel like they could have set up the shots and people noticing him a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a smidge.
Yep.
Yeah, so he kills already forgot a name, Jane, maybe? By spiking her. He runs a spike through a tree into her head. Michael comes back, finds her dead, and then he also gets speared, I guess. I think. I don't know. Our kill count's 2. It's fine.
I don't even remember these kills, if I'm being completely honest.
I mean, a lot of them where I'm like, you could tell a lot of cuts were happening where I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not 100% sure how this person just died, but I do know that they did.
So there are 2 kills that I remember really well, and for a second I thought it was these 2. So I guess those ones happened
There'll be
later.
more people in the woods. Don't you
Yeah.
worry.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Because I remember it was in the
They're
woods for sure.
covered.
And those extended kills are really good as well. Which, yeah, we'll get to those.
Then we get to Nick coming over to Tina's house because they had a slight meet cute where Tina dropped her suitcase and her clothes spilled out, and he went over to help her to be gentlemanly about it. But then she was kind of a bitch for reasons I don't know. And then he felt like an asshole for reasons I don't know. But he kept her shirt and decided to wash it and return it. And it looked like he ironed and pressed it. Like,
Yeah.
he gave her it looked like it was now a plastic shirt that it had been folded so well, you will never be able to wear it again.
Yeah, he took really good care of that shirt. I mean, that's nice of him. It looked really nice when he returned it.
It did. Like, girls,
Yeah.
get you a man who will iron your polo shirt that you probably bought for $10.
Yep.
Like, I bet he irons socks too.
Right. What a nice
he
guy.
invites her over to the party, which is nice. Sure, believable. Like, cute girl, take her to your cousin's house, because these people clearly, he doesn't really seem like he's very close friends with them. These are his cousin's friends. He's just there. He meets this girl. She's adorable. He invites her over. Sure, totally.
Yeah, why not?
Seems like a thing that would happen. I've definitely had that happen. You know, parties. When you're a teen, you just go to them.
Yep,
you just show up at people's house. I don't know these people. Whatever. She immediately gets grabbed by Eddie, the sci-fi writer who I love, and I feel like was giving a little Crispin Glover. Just a smidge.
I noticed that as well. There's definitely some similarities there. And if I remember correctly, this is the guy that Melissa uses. She doesn't actually like him, but pretends she likes him and uses him to make Nick jealous. Yeah, okay. That was not cool.
We'll go back to that.
Yeah.
We'll circle around. Tina's obviously very uncomfortable with Eddie, and that made me not like Tina. Because, like, he's just a nerd, but he seems very extroverted and nice. Like, you're being a little judgy, girl. Like, if anyone's weird at this party, it's kind of you. But
by the way, if I went to a random party and someone started telling me about their sci-fi ideas, I would be all in on that shit. Like,
I know, right?
That's what I want to hear about, not random nonsense.
I don't know what she wants from people.
I would totally dig that.
You know?
Yep.
Like, you're gonna tell me about your passion to work. I had personal anecdote. I had car trouble once when I was at university, and I have AAA, so I called AAA. AAA guy came and helped me, and he was telling me about this small sci-fi book he wrote. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, tell me all about it, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing about people's passions, especially stuff like that.
It was fun. Anyway, so at the party, so then I got mad at Tina and I wrote in my notes, kill her, Jason, spare Eddie, take her. Like a nice, kind, super well-adjusted human being would write in their notes.
Yeah, exactly. No big deal.
And at the party, Tina has a vision of Michael being killed by Jason and then runs away.
Yeah.
Like a totally well-adjusted person who has absolute grasp on her abilities. Very, super great. She runs to her mom and Dr. Bernie and, I don't know, something about hallucinations. I don't really care about any of this. Fast forward.
Me neither.
I looked away for a second and suddenly there was this guy in the woods, Dan. And this is where I wrote, Jason tiptoes up to him and punches through his chest and then breaks his neck, which I thought was overkill, but I actually really liked it.
That was one of the 2 kills that I was talking about, one in the woods. And this was also in that video with the extended kills, which, to be honest, with this one specifically, I didn't notice that much of a difference. I thought it was pretty brutal in the movie. And then when I watched the other one, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty much the same. But the next, Do you want to get to the next kill
Yeah,
after this?
the next kill is
Okay.
considered like the favorite kill in the franchise.
It's great.
So in the unedited kill, he hits her with the. So he picks up this girl in a sleeping bag and he hits the sleeping bag on a tree. I had to think about how to phrase that.
Yeah.
Like a piñata.
Mhm.
Except the sleeping bag with the girl inside it is the stick, not the tree.
Yeah. Pretty fucked up.
And so I guess it had about 6 gallons of blood in it to make it burst. And he was supposed to be hitting it repeatedly. And he gets kind of winded, which, I mean, I don't even think I could lift 6 gallons. So, like, way to go, Kane Hodder.
Yeah, no kidding.
But in the edited version, he just hits it once, which is kind of better. And it, like, explodes in blood. And then it drops with the girl's dead body. And it looks really great.
Yeah,
and
it does.
This kill, if you think that it's like, oh, this is like a franchise favorite, fan favorite, we should replicate this in a future installment, you're in luck.
So I assume, didn't they do a sleeping bag kill in the remake, if I remember correctly? Or what?
Yes,
I think they did.
think
Okay,
so.
yeah. So people had talked for years about the sleeping bag kill in this franchise, and I kind of thought that's the one they were talking about. So I didn't know this was the first one. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a sleeping bag kill everyone's been talking about. And yeah, it's really good. And the extended cut is like super overkill. I mean, he hits her on the tree like 5 times or 6 times or something like that. And the
basically he hit her until it exploded, which
yeah,
was it was intended to do.
right. But in the movie, it's only once, right?
Yes, which I think makes it look more brutal.
Yeah, yeah. In the other version, it's like 5 or 6 times or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, these 2 kills were really good, especially the sleeping bag one. Definitely the 2 kills that I remembered after the movie was over.
And this is also where he grabs the machete, which I feel like he didn't use, but okay.
I don't think
where
he
did he get all these weapons?
What the hell?
Like, he just kept getting weapons. Like, where did you get that?
Right.
So then we got back to the party where more characters are introduced because that's what we needed.
Oh, that's the last thing this damn movie needs. There's already too many characters to remember.
And it's morning now, and like Nick and Tina are talking by the lake, and Tina starts telling Nick about how she killed her dad, which, girl, this is not first date conversation.
Yeah, probably should have saved that.
And then Nick, he's from Pittsburgh and he gets dropped out of high school. I'm like, baby, go back to Pittsburgh. I never thought you'd say this. I'd say this, but like, you're safer in Pittsburgh?
Right. Yeah, anywhere but Camp Crystal Lake.
And then I don't know, I zoned out again. There was more talking. Tina's crying more.
Well, I think that Melissa was spying on them during this scene.
Is that relevant? Like,
not really.
Did it matter?
No, it doesn't.
It happened, sure.
Yeah.
And then like Dr. Birdie's like screaming at Tina because he doesn't know how childhood trauma works. Like, yeah, this is really helping, Doc. Way to go. Anyway, she throws the TV at his head, which honestly, go off, girl.
Hell yeah.
And then Nick comes back over because he keeps going over to our house uninvited. And she thinks
likes her so much.
Michael might be the guy that she had a vision of. So then they go to like try and see if they can find him or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's go do another murder.
Yeah. Let's go to the fun stuff.
So let's go to skinny dipping because
why do all these damn movies have skinny dipping at night? Like, oh man.
Who goes skinny dipping in a lake?
Yeah.
Like, you go skinny dipping in a pool.
Right.
No, you go skinny dipping in a jacuzzi. Like,
sure.
If you're going skinny dipping anywhere, it's a jacuzzi, and that is it. Oh my God. So Sandra goes skinny dipping while Russell watches, and then Jason comes up and axes him in the head, which I thought he decapitated him, but then when we cut to Sandra looking at his dead body and freaking out, and it's just an axe.
Like a gash on his head, yeah.
Yeah, like a gash down the middle of his face. And then Jason goes in the water, and it's a terrible match cut situation where Sandra's clearly being told by the director to act as though she's being attacked, but when we watch from below, there's nothing there. So she's clearly not being attacked.
Right.
So it doesn't really work very well, but he does end up drowning her. Which brings our total kill count up to 6, 3 women and 3 men.
By the way, was there a mandate in this one for at how many minutes?
That I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. Then we go back to drama with the teens. And then Nick's
Could care
trying
less.
to
Yep.
Nick's trying to reach Michael, which he's not gonna because he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Maddie gives herself a glow up, which I mean, real. You put a red lip on and some mascara, you go Super Mario. That's just a fact. That is a level up.
Mm-hmm.
And then so there's a cut scene. She's supposed to see Robin and David making out, and then she's upset and goes outside. That scene was cut, so we just see her going outside inexplicably for stupidity.
David is the guy that she likes?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's with Robin, the redhead.
Okay. Yeah, I can barely remember these people.
I think that's a very tentative thing.
Don't ask me. I definitely don't know.
And this is where we get Melissa flirting with Eddie to make Nick jealous, and my brain is melting. So we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Mom, who's looking through Dr. Burney's papers and realizing that he's taking advantage of her daughter.
Yep.
And not helping her. Meanwhile, Dr. Burney is walking through the woods and finds Michael's body. When he picks up the weapon like a dumbass, which bothered me. Then he goes back home, and the mom confronts him. They have a screaming battle, and he decides he needs to commit Tina. And I was really confused for like a few minutes before I retroactively realized I think he thinks that Tina killed Michael.
Really?
I don't know.
That's not what I got from it, but you might be right.
I don't know what's happening.
I have no idea.
What's happening, Kurt?
By the way, what would you call that weapon? Is it like a spike? Sure. Yeah, I don't even know what it is, honestly.
It's a long metal cylinder
pointed thing. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with spike.
I don't know what it would be used for. Never seen anything like that before.
For killing people, obviously.
You know what, Kurt? You got me there. You're right. Tina overhears this whole thing and runs away and gets in a car and drives. But girl, you can't drive for shit. And then she sees a vision of her mom getting killed, and she crashes the car.
Mm-hmm.
Tina, what were you thinking? Whoever taught her to drive was not the psychiatric nurse that taught Michael Myers to drive, clearly, because Michael was much better.
Yeah, Michael's a great driver, somehow.
He is. Somehow. Anyway. So Maddie is just like randomly out in the woods looking for David, maybe? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what she's doing. I don't understand. She finds Russell's dead body. And then Jason stalks her. So
did they cut a lot of scenes out of this movie that would explain better what people are doing? Because it did feel like there's some weird cuts and edits.
I know there are some cut scenes, but I'm not aware of what they are beyond that one.
Right.
She gets cut with some sort of curved blade, it looked like. Kind of like a hooked blade. Yeah. I don't know. It looked like a scythe. And I don't know. It's off screen. I don't know if her throat got
scythe
slit.
Is like the thing that the Grim Reaper has, right?
Yeah, so it's not a scythe, but it's like a curved blade.
Yeah, sure, that works.
I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. I don't know where he's getting these weapons. I don't know what they're called. They're not on screen long enough for me to suss out what they are. I just know this girl got.
Yep.
Which brings our death count to 7. I'm not including Tina's dad. I'm only counting Jason's kills.
Only Jason's kills? Okay, fair enough.
So Tina has 1 kill.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't count it as a kill because it was a good for her.
Yeah, I agree. Her dad was a piece of shit, so I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for her, obviously, but not him.
Then we get to Ben and Kate having sex in the sex van.
Yep.
As you do.
Because everyone has to have sex in the van in this movie, apparently.
Yeah. Then Ben gets an encounter with Jason and has his head crushed. Now, where are you on the head crushing? Like, where do you think he ranks? This is our 3rd head crushing.
Well, this one, there's a lot more to this one in the unedited version in the video that you sent me. In the original, you can barely even see the head crush. I mean, it's implied. You see him start it, and then it kind of cuts away. But in the other one, you see it a lot, and it's pretty gnarly. So if we're talking about the original or the non-theatrical version, the unedited version, I thought it was really good. Yeah. The one in the movie is not so good. So yeah, it depends on which version you're talking about. But head crushes are some of my favorite kills in this franchise. There's been quite a few of them. So
yeah, and then I think he killed Kate.
Yeah, I think so
somewhere.
too. I don't remember how.
Neither do
But
I. I didn't even write it down. I think he. Oh, I did. I wrote. I think he impaled her. Maybe I don't know. It's off screen.
sure, let's go with that. Adds to the kill
Um.
count.
Yeah. Who knows? Who's to say? Maybe she is still alive. We wouldn't know.
I have no idea.
Eddie and
Oh
Melissa.
wait, no, she gets like stabbed in the eye with like a funnel or something, right?
Yeah, the spike came back.
I don't
Maybe
know. It
I
looked
don't
like
know.
it looked like a funnel, but that can't be right. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So then Eddie and Melissa are getting hot and heavy, but Melissa says, "You know what? I was just trying to make Nick jealous. I thought maybe you and I could do something, but actually, I'm not really attracted to you, and I don't want to go any further." Which I'm kind of split mind about. Part of
Yeah,
me is like, you want to. She's a teenager. She's out camping. She doesn't have any parental guidance at the moment. She's like, I want to kind of do something. I want to mess around a little bit. The person I like clearly isn't interested in me. Maybe I can make him jealous. I kind of like Eddie. Let's see if maybe, I can have a fun time with Eddie, but we're kissing and maybe he's a bad kisser. And he's like, you know what? Maybe this isn't working as well as I thought it was gonna be working. I don't actually think I do want to
right,
continue.
right.
Because how I interpreted it is that she was going to go further with Eddie, but then she realized she
Really?
wasn't really having a good time.
So
And
you think
then
that she actually kind of was interested in him,
I
at
think
least
she
at
was
a
willing
certain
to
point?
to see,
Okay, sure.
but it would have been a one night stand.
Yeah, 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 of course.
But I do think she was willing, and I think that maybe she, like, as they were going further, she's like, "This is just not getting me hot and heavy. I don't think I can go any further with him."
Sure.
And then the reason why I don't feel very bad for Eddie is because he calls her a cunt. So I'm like, "No, you can die now."
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, there's a line. There's a
So
line. Like
they
I
so they
get,
can both die at this point, honestly.
yeah, yeah, they're not very nice.
Mhm.
Anyways, so then we get to Robin and David. I don't know how they even hooked up. They were in bed. I don't know if I missed something.
Uh, yeah,
But they're
again,
sleeping together now, I guess.
I
The
barely
power
remember
goes
who these
out?
people are, so
Yeah. I like the redhead.
I
She's
thought they
fun.
were already together, no?
They've been flirting.
Okay.
I don't know. It gets confusing. So the power goes out. They finish having sex. David goes downstairs for a snack when he should have gone for a pee. They both should have.
Yes. Always
PSA.
pee after. Yes.
Okay. So anyway, he walks through blood. Whose blood is in the kitchen? I don't
Uh,
know.
beats
And
me, man.
Jason stabs him in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And at some point, Nick randomly finds Tina in the woods, and then they find Michael's body.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. And then they go back to her house to find news articles about Jason Voorhees. I guess
Nice.
super convenient.
Yep.
And poor Nick's just having a bad weekend.
Oh yeah, this is a
He
rough
just
time
wanted to
for
get
him.
out of Pittsburgh, man, but he went to New Jersey, and I think that was his mistake.
Yeah. Should have gone somewhere else, probably.
For sure. Like, there are better places to go, man.
Yep.
Better places to go. And then Eddie, cutting back, Eddie gets stabbed in the neck, I think. Maybe. I think he
God,
gets decapitated.
I don't remember that kill either.
I know
Jeez.
his head is severed at some
Okay.
point because we do
Oh
see
yeah,
his
because we see
head
his severed
later.
head,
Yes.
and it's funny later. Yeah, we'll talk
Yes,
about it.
it's in a potted plant.
Yes.
Jason, that's not how you water a plant, honey, but it's fine. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Mhm.
And then Jason goes upstairs and kills Robin, who I think was waiting for David or something, but he throws her out the window. And I noticed there's a lot less glass breaking in this movie, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
glass prices went
Was
up.
that the only one?
There's two. Jason jumps
Okay.
through a window
Oh, okay.
later. So I'm
By
assuming,
the way,
yeah, I assume
maybe
glass
this is just me, but it didn't look like she fell that far. Like I feel like you could survive that. Maybe I just
Well, maybe the glass
misinterpreted
cutter.
it, but could be. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think usually that's the issue with going through a window is
Yeah.
that glass could cut you. and
Right.
hurt. So that brings our kill count to 12 with a pretty even 6 men's and 6 women's.
Equality.
That's the thing. Then Nick.
That was a joke.
Nick is trying to be a leader. Of all the bland brunette love interests, Nick is my favorite by far. And maybe that's because he's just so obviously a soap opera actor, and I just love him. So he's trying to get everyone to safety. He's trying to get Tina to go with them so they can warn all the other teens. He doesn't know they're all dead yet.
Right.
But Tina's like, no, I have to stay here for my mom when she comes back. Girl, it's next door. You'll notice if she's back. You're so dumb. Useless, Tina. You're frustrating me. You're so powerful and so stupid. Anyway. I even wrote Jesus, she's useless in my notes. I was getting mad about it. And Nick,
you're not wrong.
To the house. He finds Melissa, who doesn't believe him. I got bored and zoned out. The next thing I know, Dr. Bernie's on the screen with Mom, and they're wandering around the woods fighting, and it's annoying. And then Jason finds them, and I love that Dr. Bernie just like shoves the mom in front of him. Like,
oh my God, what an asshole.
And I don't know what Jason's holding. It looks like a hockey stick, but instead of like the end, it's a blade.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Maybe it's for cutting trees.
Sure, let's go with that.
So anyway, he like impales her with it, and then Dr. Bernie runs away, and he's able to get back to the house with Tina to warn her about Jason, maybe. But then Jason catches up to him with a weed whacker, and I don't understand how weed whackers work, because every weed whacker I've ever used had to be plugged in. But I guess maybe they have battery operated ones.
Yeah, some of them. Yep.
I just think it would have been funnier if it was plugged in and he like ran out like an idle hands.
That would have been hilarious.
He's so funny. Anyway, so our kill count's out 14, 7 men's and 7 women's.
By the way, the weed whacker kill is another one that you get to see quite a bit more of with the unedited version.
Yes.
That was a lot better with that one.
All right.
I think they pretty much entirely cut away from it in the actual movie, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so now we're getting into our end. Okay. I kind of want to speed run everything Tina does to Jason, because this is why Kane Hodder is beloved. Because this man said, what do you want to do to my body? Sure, let's fucking do it. I'm indestructible, bitch. And apparently he is.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So just know, Tina has a lot of psychic power, telekinetic powers. And this girl said, fuck you, Jason. And Jason said, but I can't die. So here's what happens. Hang on, let me take a sip of water.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
All right. Tina finds all these bodies and starts screaming while it's running around. Then Jason shows up and they stare each other down. It is intense. I really wish that they had Ennio Morricone's like score from Once Upon a Time in the West playing. That is how intense I need you to know.
That would have been perfect.
Then Tina decides to go full Kandarian demon and starts using the branches to grab Jason. And then I'm like, oh my God, are we getting an Evil Dead tree assault scene? Because I just can't handle that. Thankfully, no. So she grabs Jason with the tree branches, shoves him in a puddle, and electrocutes him. Jason comes back in. Tina runs home. Jason breaks in the window. And that's our second glass breaking scene.
Second and only 2 in the movie, which is shocking.
Tina continues her psychic battle. She tries to lock him out of the room that she's in, but he breaks through the door. Then she throws a couch at him. Then she throws a potted plant that has Eddie's severed head at him. Then she brings down an entire roof on his body, and then he climbs through it to go after her. Tina goes home. She's crying to Nick and Melissa, Nick maybe cares, Melissa gives no shits. Jason comes in, shoves an axe in Melissa's head, picks her up by the face, and throws her through a wall. And that's my personal favorite kill in the franchise.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
I love it. Nick tries to protect Tina, but he's a dumbass. And now we get our chase scenes. They run upstairs. Tina swings like this light fixture at his face, which shatters on his head, sending him flying back through the stairs. And when I say through the stairs, please understand that I mean through
literally
the staircase to the first floor. But he's still kicking. He comes back out and tries to crush Nick's face. So Tina compresses his mask, which breaks, and then we get the longest scene in any film where we have unmasked Jason. She brings a cord down and hangs Jason by it, and then drops him below to the basement. Then she goes downstairs, starts sending projectiles into his head, such as a nail, then pours him with gasoline, sets him on fire, which is an extremely long fire stunt.
Yes.
Then we get a house explosion, which was a great house explosion.
Mm-hmm.
All through this, indestructible zombie Jason is still effing going. He comes down to the dock where they are. Suddenly, Nick has a gun, I guess. I don't know when that happened. But Jason just bitch slaps him into a boat and he's unconscious through the rest of the movie. Then Tina's left on the dock alone with zombie Jason and decides now to resurrect her dead zombie father, John, to grab Jason and bring him back to the bottom of the lake. What the fuck just happened?
I don't know. God, I forgot just how many different things happened in this final sequence. I mean,
I feel
holy
like I
shit.
needed Benny Hill music playing in the background of that description.
Yeah, for real. That would have been very fitting. But how do you feel about seeing this much of Jason without his mask?
I like it because I think the effect, like the makeup, was really well done.
The makeup was really good.
I kind of wish that they did more of like a water bloating,
Yeah.
but I do
Yeah,
think
that
this
would have
was
been
still
cool.
good despite that.
I really enjoyed the final battle though. I thought it was a lot of fun. And like if you want someone who can take on Jason, be a match for him, you get Carrie basically. So, and I thought the electrocution thing was pretty badass too. But yeah, I thought that it was a fun finale.
I kind of wish that we still had Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, played by Tom Matthews. I mean, yeah, that would have been awesome.
But I do like this. I do think it would have been better if Tina was maybe a little bit more emboldened and not just a sobbing mess the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
For people who don't know, there is a fan film which does bring back the actor who played Dr. Bernie, Carrie Kisser, and it does bring back Tina, Lar Park Lincoln. I think Kevin Blair, Nick, is in it also.
Okay.
I don't remember. I only watched it once. It's called Roseblood. You
Okay.
can find it on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half, and it does continue this storyline.
Now, is that from the same people who made Never Hike Alone?
Mhm.
It's not different
No.
people? Okay.
Yeah. But I do think if you like the New Blood, obviously bringing the same actors back and stuff like that, it is worth a watch. But I wish Tina and Tommy had met. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
that would
wish
have been
that they
cool.
teamed up and they were in number 8. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
I wish that they had teamed up and they were in number 9. Oh my God, I wish that's what happened because it's really not what happened. To the point of tragedy. But
By the way, the throwing the potted plant at him with a head in it was really, really funny. And there was a couple other really funny moments in the movie, but I can't remember them, honestly, like when I laughed out loud.
I feel like this one isn't, it has some memorable kills.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a memorable movie because just Tina and Jason's like fight. This is kind of the first time that someone was powerful enough to like go up against him.
Yeah.
And like actually give him a run for his money. But that's about it.
So I know that a lot of people did not like giving the hero all the powers in this movie. Like they thought it was too far or something, which I don't understand because like in the last movie, Jason got revived because of a lightning strike. I mean, nothing is too ridiculous for this franchise. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm totally fine with that, but some people aren't from what I've heard. So.
Okay, so I want to say our total kill count is 15 with 8 women and 7 men. And I think this is the first and one of the, hang on, let me try that again. It's the first one in this franchise where we have more women dying. And I actually think it is a rare horror movie, well, a rare slasher movie where more women die.
Really?
Typically more men die than women.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of doing a whole video essay on that, but it's generally because typically one, you have a survivor girl.
Final girl. Yep.
Yes. And two, typically more men are cast in movies than women. So
Yes.
they're killing more men off.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's kind of a combination of those two things as to why. But again, I'm writing a video essay on that. I'm only on page 10.
Oh,
It's
well,
gonna be long.
whenever you finish that, I'm looking forward to it. That'll be fun for sure.
So hopefully that'll be out by next month. If I don't kill myself trying to make it. And dude, I put this out on Spotify as well as Apple and YouTube. And if you leave a comment with like any request, usually I do try to do them. So someone made a request that I do a survivor count going forward. So I'll do that going forward, and then maybe I'll put out a video retroactively doing a kill count and survivor count. So the two survivors of this movie are Nick and Tina.
Right. Cool.
Still no word on the dog, Gordon. But I think now that it's 1997, he's probably dead either way.
Justice for Gordon.
Right, Gordon.
That's true.
Okay, Kurt, where can the people find you? Or unless you have any last thoughts.
No, not really. Just my general thoughts on the movie. I think it's fine. I mean, it would be towards the bottom of my ranking so far. Not at the very bottom, I don't think. Probably ahead of 5, but that might be it. Yeah, it was okay. Solid introduction to Kane Hodder. I didn't like all the breathing and noises, though. That does not feel like Jason to me.
He seemed like he made Jason asthmatic, and that's really my only problem.
Yeah, that was odd. Score was pretty forgettable compared to some of the other ones. Couple decent characters, the rest were very forgettable. So yeah, it's fine. Certainly entertaining. Very middle of the road, I guess. What about you?
Wow, we're an hour in. I just noticed your shirt.
Yeah, well, I had it last time too, so
I just looked down. I'm like, oh, hey, there's a Jason mask.
Yep.
I'm very slow.
But you do remember me wearing it last time too, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I know you forget a lot of things, but I sure hope you'd remember.
No, I generally only just forget
names,
conversations. I have very low auditory recall.
Yeah,
I just don't necessarily pay attention to my surroundings.
Totally fair. I got this like right before our last episode. I saw it at the store. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna wear that.
See if I could get a Jason Lives shirt. Oh, I love Jason Lives.
I should try to get one. That would be awesome. But
you still need to watch Return of the Living Dead. Right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's on my list.
You should have watched it for it's a Independence Day movie.
Oh, damn. Well, I was pretty busy that day. I don't know if I would have been able to watch it.
You should do it next year then. July 3rd. It takes place July 3rd.
Yeah, okay. I could do that for sure.
Okay, so in 2 ways, any last comments?
Should I get into plugs now then? Or okay. Yeah, you can find me on all the socials at Kurt Hagens, CurtHagens, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, YouTube. Yeah. And I'm sure you'll probably link my YouTube like you usually do. So cool.
Yep. And then I am LeGault Rants. You can find me at the Unhinged Binge you can find me on YouTube as well as Instagram. And now if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do. Stay with the rainbows.